the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District Board of Directors for Tuesday, February the 1st. Happy February. Short month. And that will take us into item number 1, salute to the flag. Mr. Soares, will you lead us in the pledge, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Madam Clerk, item number 2. Will you call the roll?
Yes. Von Hartung,
Here?
Alexis Hill, via
Here.
Zoom. Bob Lucy,
Here.
Kitty Jung via telephone,
Present.
Jeannie Herman via telephone, is Jeannie Herman present?
Sandy, does she show? Okay. Okay, all right. Move
Okay.
on, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Fire Chief Charles Moore,
Here.
Deputy District Attorney, we have Mary Canderas. Chief, and I'm Chief Deputy Clerk Kathy Smith. You have quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Chief, item number 3, public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person and may pertain to matters both on and off the Board of Fire Commissioners' agenda. The district will also hear public comment during individual action items, with comment limited to 3 minutes per person. Comments are to be made to the Board of Fire Commissioners as a whole.
Thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk, do we have public comment?
We have no one signed in.
Is there anyone wishing to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Chief, item number 4.
Item number 4 is Commissioners, Fire Chiefs, announcements, requests for information, topics for future agendas, and statements relating to items not on the agenda. No discussion among commissioners will take place on this item.
Chief, do you have any such items?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to rearrange the agenda just slightly. All the firefighters you see are anxious to get out to their stations and start serving the public, so we'd like to move item 9 immediately following item 4 that we're on now.
Okay. Any other amendments, Chief?
No, sir.
Okay. Commissioners, do we have anything this morning? I'm going to start down here. Mr. Lucy.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chairman. I just want to bring up a topic of discussion, hopefully for maybe future reference. Mount Rose Highway, and the chairman and I have had a number of conversations with NDOT in regards to that. But once again, Mount Rose Highway, just this Sunday, we experienced a fatality accident on Mount Rose Highway, which was tremendously sad and upsetting. But we have a challenged road on Mount Rose Highway. 431 is a major thoroughfare that our districts 39 and also 36, have to respond to daily. And whether that's a vehicle accident or EMS call, these challenges still continue to be difficult in that community. And I'd like to sit down and make sure that any conversations we have with NDOT in regards to their response of safety on that road has our discussions alongside of it, Chief, because our firefighters and our EMS are the ones that respond to that. And we need to make sure that we're trying to prevent that from happening and create a more safe environment alongside of that road versus having, NDOT not allowing us to participate in the conversation. So if we can do that and kind of bring some of our information, our data, how frequently we respond to 431 for vehicle accidents and whatnot during the winter and summer months would be beneficial for me, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. I'm going to start with Commissioner Hill.
No comments, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jung?
Yes, I would like to, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I would like to chime in with Commissioner Lucy in support of Mount Rose Highway safety improvements, considering that's the only Washoe County route to the lake, direct route. And I would argue that's going to get more busy as time goes by rather than less. And it's crucial, but that's also a major emergency route for many people. I don't have to say this, but I will, many of whom are elderly. So anytime that route is closed down for a massive accident, I'm concerned about the ability for emergency services to provide emergency services to everyone while that all hands are on deck for that. So I completely support that needs major consultation and public input on what those safety propositions are and what the locals can provide in terms of information. Not to mention, NDOT is funded through our federal income taxes, so everybody has a seat at that table. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Herman?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
We had a problem with TS, Chairman.
okay.
We're gonna.
Please? Okay, so while you're doing that, I'm going to chime in. I'm going to dovetail on Commissioner Lucy's comments. For those of you who work Station 46 and Station 45, you guys know, you folks know that NDOT is going to take off the advanced signal warning systems on Pyramid Highway, and I have argued unsuccessfully that NDOT has done no real improvements on that highway I've lived out there for 35 years. They widened it, I don't know, 32 or 33 years ago, and then since then, all that's happened is we've put in more and more traffic signals. We did widen Pyramid and McCarran, which was a great safety improvement. But out beyond north of Pyramid and McCarran, there have been no substantive safety improvements on the Pyramid Highway. And they're doing this under the guise of a safety improvement. And I can demonstrate, Chief, a dozen things on the highway that have not made it safer and made it more treacherous. Commissioner Lucy brought up, sadly, a fatality. We're all saddened by those. There's just no words to express our sorrow. But everything that we can do to prevent them, and I do not believe the removal of the advanced signal warning systems will prevent accidents. And in fact, I think that it will confuse drivers and it will make it a more dangerous corridor. So I know we've already talked about this. I know a letter has been written to NDOT, but as Commissioner Jung has said, maybe it's time, we start really pushing on this from all fronts to say, look, you guys, if you really want to make these corridors safer, let's talk about the things that need to be done, because substantive changes need to be made, and it's not just the simple removal of advanced signal warning systems on Pyramid Highway and both Mount Rose Highway. So those are my comments. Do we have Commissioner Herman yet?
Hello?
Commissioner Herman?
Yes.
Commissioner Hartung? So
Yes.
we are on item number 4, which is commissioners and fire chiefs announcements. I don't know whether you could hear the other commissioners' announcements. I don't know.
No, I didn't. I got cut off right away. So
Okay. All right. Do you have anything for us, Commissioner?
no, I don't need to say anything today
Okay.
right now.
All right. Thank you. Okay. I will close, if there's nothing else from any of the other commissioners, I will close item number 4. And Chief, that now takes us to item number 9, which we are going to take out of order per your request.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chief Shum is going to introduce our new graduates. We have 15 new employees coming on the line. And just as soon as we're done here, a lot of them are going out to their stations to staff. And I think that as they're starting to line up, the good news is with 15 additional employees, we're getting back to full staffing as of today. We did down staff some of our stations as a result of some COVID that had run through the department, but this is indeed good news for us. So,
Okay. Thank you, Chief. Chief, welcome. Good to see you. Well, mostly you.
Most of me. Here up. Good morning, Commissioners. Joe Shum, Division Chief, Truckee Meadows Fire, for the record. I'm here today to present our 15 newest hires to the board. I wanted to kind of give a little bit of a background. Beside me here is Captain Whitlock, Captain Rivera, and Firefighter Lowe. Not present today is Engineer Marvin. These four gentlemen served as our cadre down at the Capital City Fire Academy. The Capital City Fire Academy lasted for 14 weeks and graduated 2 weeks ago on Saturday, January 22nd. The Capital City Academy was 7 fire departments this time. So this was a joint effort. 35 total recruits started with Carson City, East Fork, Central Lyon, North Tahoe, North Lake Tahoe, and Tahoe Douglas and Truckee Meadows. There were 12 total cadre, and we supplied 4 of them. The recruits went through 14 weeks of basic training. They're now finishing their 3 weeks of ongoing training that covers EMS and driving here at Truckee Meadows. So I wanted to thank the cadre and have them up here when I present the new hires to you. I want to start this process with Tom Suchek, his wife Erica, and his son Tristan. Unfortunately, Tom, like myself and many others, have had COVID at some point, and so he missed graduation on January 22nd. So today, Tom, if you come forward with your wife and son, this is his opportunity to get his badge pinned. At that graduation ceremony on the 22nd, there were 31 recruits that got pinned badges across those 7 fire departments. So Tom originally is from Prague in the Czech Republic. He began his career with NDF in 2005 as a seasonal firefighter and later promoted to crew boss before coming to Truckee Meadows Fire as a fuels crew member in 2020, and he was one of our squad bosses. So he's been hired onto the suppression side of the house. He attended TMCC and UNR, where he completed his associate's degree in fire science, and he's got a goal right now, goals change, of being an operator here at Truckee Meadows.
Congratulations.
Okay, 14 more. Sebastian Hickey. So I'll read you their quick bios as they come down. Sebastian is from Colorado Springs, Colorado. He's been living in Washoe County since July of 21. He began his career with CAL FIRE in the Lassen Modoc unit. He went to school at Folsom Lake College and attended Sac State. He's got a goal of developing himself to one day be a part of the training division to help shape the next generation of firefighters. Sebastian. Next up is Kyle Colombini. He was born and raised in Reno, Nevada. He's lived here for 29 years. Started his career with the Rifle Peak Hand Crew, and after 5 years, he made the move to pursuing his career as an AEMT. He went to school at Galena High School, attended college at Sierra College, and graduated from Chico State with a degree in kinesiology. He's got a goal of developing his craft and becoming a lifelong learner. Cameron Okuma. Cameron is originally from Winnemucca. He's been living in Washoe County for the past year. He began his career at BLM Winnemucca and transitioned after 4 years over to our TMFR Fuels crew in 2020. Cameron also attended TMCC, where he obtained an associate's degree in science. He has a goal of becoming well-rounded, all-risk fireman and push himself daily. Patrick Davis, originally from Vacaville. He's been living in Washoe County for the past 9 years. He began his career with the Humboldt General Hospital and worked for the California Department of Corrections. He attended TMCC, obtaining his paramedic certification. He has a goal to understand the expectations of TMFR and gain the necessary experience to become an asset to the citizens of Washoe County. Greg Jameson. He's originally from Fernley. He's been living in Washoe County off and on for the past 13 years. He obtained his bachelor's degree from University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and has been a local business owner in the area since 2004. Greg decided to pursue a career and began attending TMCC classes obtaining his EMT and AEMT certifications. He has a goal of becoming proficient as a firefighter with TMFR and being successful in his career. Austin Rowe. Austin is from Reno and has been living here for the last 28 years. He attended TMCC and UNR. His career began at TMCC, where he attended the fire academy and EMT classes. Austin is also a member of our original fuels crew in 2020, so he is promoted from the fuel side to the suppression side. His goals are to prepare himself to be the best firefighter for his crew and then become a paramedic. Joe Aguilian. Told you I was going to mess up. Joe is native Reno. He's been here for 38 years. He began his career with the Slide Mountain Hand Crew, working with BLM and the Forest Service along the way. He attended TMCC, where he obtained his associate's degree and is completing paramedic school at this time with REMSA. His goal is to complete the paramedic program and become a productive member and asset. Joe is also one of the fuels crew members from 2020 and joins the suppression side. Trent Suarez. Trent was born and raised in Hawaii and has lived in the county for 12 years. He began his career in functional fitness after graduating UNR in 2013, and in 2018 began working on his EMS certifications, becoming a paramedic in 2021. He has the goal of being a paramedic signed off and qualified fully with the department by February of 23. We'll get you there. Austin Moore is a fourth generation Nevadan, and he's been in the Reno-Sparks area for 31 years. He began his career with NDF as a seasonal firefighter and worked with REMSA as an AEMT. He graduated Reed High School and obtained a bachelor's degree in community health and science from the University of Nevada, Reno. Austin's goal is to become a paramedic and continue to serve the residents at the highest capacity possible. Nick Welsh. Nick is originally from the Bay Area, and he's been living in Washoe County for the last 10 years. He began his career with the Slide Mountain Hand Crew and also worked for the United States Forest Service and NDF's Hill Attack Crew. He was a part of the Fuels Reduction Crew and has obtained his EMT certifications from TMCC and Western Nevada College. His goal is to assist with the Wildland Division in any capacity and expand on his new craft as a firefighter. David Watson is another native of Washoe County. He's lived here for 23 years, beginning his career at REMSA as an EMT basic. He graduated from North Valleys High School and attended TMCC, obtaining an associate's degree in psychology, and he also has attended the REMSA paramedic program. His goal is to progress and keep pace with the rapid growth at TMFR and obtained his critical care paramedic certification. Daniel Rowe was born and raised in Reno. He began his career at REMSA and obtained his bachelor's degree from University of Nevada, Reno. He attended REMSA's paramedic program and obtained his paramedic certificate. He has a goal to complete his probationary year and become the best firefighter we have. Anthony Ferreira. He's originally from Spring Creek, Nevada. He's been living in Washoe County for 4 years. He began his career at Mount Rose Ski Patrol and spent 1 year working for AMR, American Medical Response, and he has a goal to complete his bachelor's degree. Federico Ruiz. He's originally from Argentina. He's been in Washoe County for 4 months. He began his career with Nevada County Consolidated Fire Department, graduated from Folsom Lake College, where he obtained an Associates of Arts and Humanities. After graduating Folsom, he attended the American River College and obtained his EMT certification. He has a goal to become an asset to the team, and he wants to be able to provide the best level of care that his community deserves. That is 15 new hires that are hitting the floor momentarily.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Hey, Chief, can we take a picture with him?
Let's do it.
Absolutely. I don't even remember.
have to go 2 rows. Yeah. So after you go to B or something. Yeah, it's gonna be. There you go.
Masks can come off.
Off to work. We got stations to spin, right?
Mr. Chairman, I've been told that Austin Moore's first name is Charles.
Oh.
So in moments of controversy, I intend to direct angry phone calls to him first.
Ooh,
I think it's a smart choice, sir.
Chief, well done. Good hire,
I like the strategery there.
the strategery.
So now we have Chief Eisenhagen and Chief Way to introduce some new employees in the fuel side and in fire prevention.
Chief?
Good morning. For the record, August Eisenhagen, Division Chief, Truckee Meadows Fire. If I can get Mr. Nordike and Mr. Hunwoodson and your pinners down here, please. I'm pleased to introduce these 2 gentlemen of note with these 2 new hires. Combined, they have roughly 45 years of wildland fire experience, so we're blessed to have that. I'll introduce them first, then we'll pin and we can take some photos after. First up, on my left, your right, is Mr. Logan Nordike. Logan started with the Bureau of Indian Affairs in 2002. He worked there and for other contractors until 2006 when he joined Nevada Division of Forestry. He was with Nevada Division of Forestry for roughly 16 years. During his time there, he served on hand crews, helitack, and engines. He will be pinned by his mother, Cheryl. On my right, your left, I have Mr. Chance Hunwoodson. Chance began his career with the United States Forest Service in 1996 before moving to Cal State Parks, where he participated in fire management from 1998 to 2005. 2005, Chance joined Nevada Division of Forestry. He also worked on crews, helitack, and heavy equipment. He brings a bachelor's in geography with a minor in natural resource planning from Humboldt State University, and he will be pinned by his wife, Vanessa. All right.
All right, don't mess it up, huh?
Push it straight in, Vanessa. Congratulations. And maybe more importantly, welcome.
Thank you.
Okay?
Like pictures with these
Sure,
two?
you bet.
Shall we do Chief Way's new hire and then do
Okay, perfect, Chief.
do
Yeah.
pictures with just so we don't have to get up and down twice. That's Chance.
Chief?
Good morning, Dale Way, Deputy Fire Chief, Truckee Meadows Fire. And I will be presenting Carrie Johnson, and her husband Ryan will pin badge on her. Carrie started the fire service in 1999 as a volunteer firefighter and EMT, and went on to work for the Forest Service as a firefighter EMT for about 3 years, while finishing her associate's degree in fire technology, at which time she transitioned to fire prevention as a fire prevention officer with the city of Sacramento. She had a brief stint in private service for a consulting agency before she went to Phoenix Fire for the last 2 years. And then she heard how awesome we were and decided to come join us.
Well done. Yeah, I'm not going to tell you to push it straight in. Well done. Congratulations. You know, hold on just a second. I just want to say something, because this really underscores TM's diverse crews and diverse people that work for us. I could not be more proud. I mean, we have to deal with all kinds of issues, and I'll tell you what, we have stepped up. You have stepped up, and I am beyond proud of how you, Chief, and your command staff have sought out these individuals. They are amazing. They come with so much experience in the various areas that TM has to cover. And so I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate your command staff. And I want to congratulate all of you for coming to TM. Thank you so much. You guys coming in from the back?
Yeah.
All right, scoot on down. Come on, reach in the middle. Welcome aboard, everybody.
Okay, Chief. Where does that take us to now? Are
We're
we
now
on
on
to
item number 5, Mr.
Okay.
Chairman. Item 5 is a recommendation to approve the meeting minutes from the January 4th, 2022 Board of Fire Commissioners meeting.
Okay. Commissioners, are there any emendations to those minutes?
I have none, sir, and if you're looking, I will propose a motion, move to approve the minutes.
Have a motion by
Second.
Lucy. Have a second by, was that you, Commissioner Hill?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not.
Okay, I will close public comment. We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Chief, that takes us to item number 6.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 6 is a recommendation to accept and express thoughtful appreciation for 2 monetary donations, $500 from Amy Heinz and $200, which was an anonymous donation, both in support of Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District.
Okay, wonderful. We could not operate without these kinds of donations and without the thoughtful considerations of the community. Madam Clerk, is there any public comment on item number 6?
There is not.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments?
None.
Okay, looking for a motion.
Move to approve.
Motion by Lucy.
Second.
Have a second by, was that you again, Commissioner Hill?
I may have heard Commissioner Herman.
Herman, I'm sorry. So I have a motion by Lucy, second by Herman. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Chief, that takes us to item number 7.
Mr. Chairman, item 7 is a recommendation to accept Commission District 4 special grant in the amount of $5,000 sponsored by Washoe County Commissioner and Chair Von Hartung to support Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District Fire Safety CAM program, and if approved, approve a resolution augmenting the Truckee Meadows Fire Protection District General Fund budget.
Chairman, if I may, if I can jump in here.
Please, Mr. Lucy.
Chairman, you know, obviously this is a program that you have continuously worked on with TMFPD for many, many years. This program should be probably aptly named the Von Hartung CAN program versus the fire safety CAN.
We have plans for
Hartung CAN
that. We have
program.
plans for
We have an answer for that? Oh, good, okay, good. I know Chief is working on something special for you. But we do, you know, appreciate all your continuous support for this program. It is one of those programs we enjoy, making sure that our citizens across the county have access to fire safety bins, and your $5,000 will go a long ways to continuing this program stay in perpetuity. So if there are no further discussion, I would make the initial motion to accept your $5,000 in special funds.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Lucy, second by Commissioner Herman. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not.
Okay, I will close public comment. Just under discussion, I want to thank the commission for supporting this program. All of you have done an amazing job, and I will reiterate this. We have no idea how many houses or lives, for that matter, that we have saved, but I promise you, it has made a difference. I guarantee you, and I use mine all the time. I don't use it for ash because I don't have such a need, but I do use it for rags, and it's a good use. It's a good, solid use. So again, thank you, Chief, for continuing this program. We have a motion by Lucy, second by Herman. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Again, thank you, Commissioners, for supporting that. Chief, that takes us to item number 10.
Item number 8, Mr. Chairman, is the
Oh, 8, my
International
bad.
Association
Whoops.
of Firefighters Local 2487 report, and the President, Patrick Walsh, is here.
It's down at the bottom of the page, very bottom. I apologize.
That's okay. Good morning. For the record, Patrick Welsh, President, Local 2047. Unfortunately, I don't have much to report to you guys other than negotiation season just began yesterday. So other than that, we look forward to having some good conversations, and hopefully we can come back with a fair and equitable contract for everybody. And beyond that, I don't really have anything else for you. Any
Okay,
questions for me?
Commissioners?
You know, I don't have any questions. You know, Mr. Walsh, it's nice to see you guys coming back to the meetings. We do appreciate 2487 and your involvement and participation in these board meetings. I know they're not always convenient for you guys to come to and participate in, but it's always good to hear how our frontline union members are, you know, what's going on so that we can address those from a policy standpoint and ongoing negotiations with, because we want to make sure, as we pointed out earlier, you know, we want to make sure that TM is always looked upon as the best organization so we can continue to recruit the best individuals across not only the state and the region, but out of state. So thank you for you guys' continued involvement.
Yeah, we're happy to be here. Thank
Well
you so
said,
much.
Commissioner. Thank you so much. This is not for action, it's discussion only. Commissioners, do you have anyone else online before Mr. Walsh leaves? Okay, all right, I will close that. Now, Chief, forgive me, that takes us to item number 10.
Mr. Chairman, item 10 is the fire chief's report. Capital projects update. We are ready to go. We have the construction documents for Station 37, the residential portion, ready to go out to bid in just a couple of weeks, making a few changes. The board may recall that that project will be phased. Once the renovations are done at the house, the crew moves into the new house, and then we demolish the old building and scrape the site. We move the existing modular. Phase 3 then is to build the new apparatus bay, so the fire station there, despite we're building a brand-new fire station, the station will never close, so it's been a fortuitous and an elegant solution for us. Station 46, the addition for the ambulance crew is now out to bid, and we'll hopefully bring those bids back to you for your consideration and possible approval next month. And we have architects online for the rest of the projects mentioned in my report. And so this is going to be a very well choreographed, I hope, effort. By the end of the year, we'll have construction documents on all of the big projects. I'll be speaking with Apple this Friday to coordinate its design along with the Washoe Valley Fire Station. And they've been very, very supportive thus far. So we think that project will save both of our organizations money. And with any luck, this thing will, all these projects will go off like clockwork. And by the end of 23 or perhaps early 24, we'll be moving into our new facilities. Item A2 is the budget calendar next month.
Chief, before we move off of the capital projects update, can I get one of the things that I would ask for on the capital projects, and this is all of our new construction and improvements where we're making, can I get staff to bring me back kind of like a current audit of the staff or the shape or, kind of an inspection of all of our assets? I know we've had some challenges. We were doing work at 39 at the Joy Lake Station. Is that all that construction has been completed, correct?
That's finished, yes.
For the quarters, for the crew quarters. And then we did have issues, I remember at a 32. Can I get an update on 32 as well, where we are with those improvements?
Give it to you right now. The mold has been abated, water leak has been fixed, and that station now is operational again.
No, and no issues at 30. I thought we had some leak issues at 30 as well.
I'm not aware of any leak issues at 30.
No, we're okay. Okay.
I don't see any heads bobbing from my staff, so I think we're good there.
All right. Thank you, sir. Just because I want to, like I said, the ages of a couple of those stations are getting up there. And I know that's one of the reasons we're moving forward with the consolidated Washoe Valley stations. But, obviously to continue to patch those up until the stations, the 30 consolidated station, I just want to make sure we got that stuff under that.
We do have another issue that came up, not in my report, but the bay slab at the Stead Station is in need of replacement. Severely cracked, and any water that goes on top of the bay goes underground somehow, somewhere. And what we're trying to decide as a staff is how long we'll be using that station in the future. But I think it's prudent that we probably go ahead and replace that slab. So we've now added that to our list of capital items. It shouldn't be a tremendously expensive repair, but I think it's a needed one. And I will add that then to it.
Have we done a capital assessment on all of our stations in recent months? I mean, how often do we do that?
We've done a cursory analysis of the stations. Some of these repairs, though, that they have just manifested all of a sudden.
Right.
I'd say half of our stations are new, half of our stations are very old.
Right.
So I can bring that back to you next month.
Yeah, I mean, if we could get like I know in commercial, we go through every 5 years and do just a maintenance and overhaul, just an assessment of the properties from roof and everything like that. And do we, more instead of a maintenance schedule of just our HVAC, but more of an assessment of all of our stations and what that schedule would look like, and what are we inspecting on there? Is it structural? Is it slab? We're running those engines in and out of those. How are our garage doors and those things? How is that? Those mechanicals, are they how are they serviced? That service schedule, that would be great for me, just so we can look at the asset, make sure we're doing that asset management properly.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Chairman.
Great comments, Commissioner. Chief, while we're on that, what's the living situation at 46? Because I know we had to add I think we had 4 already, didn't we?
We had
needed to add
3
an
in the
additional-
crew, and now we've added 2 for the medic. So the medic crew is sleeping in a quick space that's in the rear of the station.
Okay,
And then during the day, they occupy the main part of the station.
okay,
So we are in a fast track to get that one built and done, so our crews are a little more comfortable.
yes.
My hat's off to the crew for enduring less than optimal sleeping quarters, but that's my crew. I mean, they suck it up. and
Didn't
they
we
get
have
the job.
quarters for 4 at 46, Chief?
Yeah, there's 4 there, but
Right.
we have a crew of 2, so.
Right,
is
we
one
need
of the-
6. No, I realize that, yeah. Yeah,
So
but-
Chief Kukulis, is one of those bedrooms used as the weight room? I forget.
For the record, Alex Kukulis, Deputy Chief. Yes, we have 4 bedrooms. We only run 3 staff on the
Right.
engines at minimum. But right with that new group going out, they do what we call a 4th ride. So they do training. So we do sometimes have 4 firefighters there in addition to the 2 on the ambulance. So that's why
Okay.
we need capacity for 6.
Okay, good, all right. Okay, thank you, Chief. I'm sorry, proceed.
Any other questions on capital? We're moving right along on that. If not, I'll move on to A2.
No,
the budget.
Commissioners online, do we have any questions for Chief?
I'm okay.
Commissioner, thank you. Commissioner Jung, are you still with us? Okay, all right, let's proceed, Chief.
Item A2 is the budget calendar. We are gathering recommendations from staff. Now, we'll consolidate those and sort them out in terms of priority and bring back to the board kind of an overview of the high-level things that we need to fund for your input before we start to develop tentative budget in April and the final budget in May. And so expect that discussion on next month.
Okay.
And finally, our bond financing timeline, we again expect to finance some of the major projects through bond financing. We'd like to get going on that quickly before interest rates rise, and if they do rise or increase. So we expect to have a very accurate number on the cost of the new stations using the CMAR process so that we're very accurate in the bond ask.
Okay. Yeah, and it's wise, Chief. I think everybody senses that interest rates will rise fairly soon here, just with this administration trying to control inflation. And they have not had any interest rate rises, and I can't even remember the last time there was even a single point. So I don't, or 1/10 of a basis point. I can't remember. So I know that they're going to be doing that fairly soon. So I'm encouraged that we get that done prior to. Chief, do we use the state revolving fund for those bonds?
No, we use J&A Consultants as our
Okay.
bond consultant and Sherman and Howard as our bond counsel.
Yes.
And they are the same consultants we used previously on the last 2 bonds that we've issued.
Right. But do the bonds themselves, do we use the state revolving fund, do you know?
I don't believe
No.
so, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
If you have questions, Cindy Vance could answer those.
No, I mean, it's just a basic, okay, so the answer is no, that's okay. Commissioners, anything else? Okay,
No, thank
all right, Chief, we're gonna try to get back Commissioner Jung. Oh, she's not gonna be with us, okay, let the minutes reflect that Commissioner Jung has left the meeting. Chief, that takes us now to item number, if you have nothing further, that takes us to item number 11.
Just item 10B, if I'll let the
Oh, I'm
report
sorry, I
stand
apologize.
unless there's questions from the board. But I have no comment on the report.
Okay? No, I wanted to thank you for the cumulative. That's really very telling how important TM is to the region and to our regional partners. And I'm pleased. Thank you so much for that. Okay. All right, Chief, item 11.
Item 11 is a recommendation to create 12 additionally flexibly staffed firefighter paramedic positions, which can be underfilled as firefighter EMT if necessary to allow for ambulance staffing, and to approve a restructured firefighter paramedic district staffing plan for 75 firefighter paramedic positions, which includes 3 existing grant-funded positions, 48 existing firefighter paramedic positions, 24 flexibly, easy for me to say, 24 flexibly staffed firefighter paramedic EMT positions, including these new requested positions.
Okay.
Well, that was hard to get out.
Chief, I don't know whether commissioners have a question on this. The first thing I want to say is thank you. I see this as a real benefit to the region where we're dealing with our resources in a different way. So I want to start with that. Thank you so much. Chief Kukulis.
Good morning again. For the record, Alex Kukulis, Deputy Chief. So continuing along the theme of all of our new hires and growth, we are asking for 12 additional positions to be approved in advance. Caveat to it is that we don't necessarily anticipate we're going to hire all 12 right away right now. We are having conversations both with REMSA in continuation of our ambulance program that we've been expanding over the last year, as well as some other attrition and needs. So we'd like to get these positions approved, and when we use the term flexibly staffed, all that means is that we haven't yet determined whether they're all going to be paramedics or some could be EMTs, and once we go through the recruitment process, we'll better know what that mix is. But we roughly anticipate that we may hire 6 to 8 this spring and the balance sometime later. Again, some of the concepts being discussed with REMSA and internally are that we could add an additional medic unit in Cold Springs at some point, but we're not 100% sure on that yet. We do know that Medic 30 down in Washoe Valley is currently being staffed, cross-staffed by the engine crew, so if nothing else, we would put, it takes 6 people to staff an ambulance on all 3 shifts, so we would put the employees there if nowhere else. So we have some options, but the reason we're asking in advance before that's all decided is that, as you can see from the new hires we just introduced, there's about a 9-month lead-up time from the point they apply and go through the testing process through several months of academy and 4th rides on the engine. So our next opportunity to hire here will be this spring. It's tentatively scheduled for mid-March to start, which means if we get some of these employees into that spring academy, we won't actually have them at our disposal until probably August-ish. So we currently have applications open. We'll be recruiting right now and making some of these decisions in the coming weeks. Again, we'll kind of piecemeal this together as we go. Fiscal side of the house, eventually these will be self-sustaining. Those that go to the ambulance between direct transport revenues and GEMT monies pretty much pay for themselves. There's a little bit of a lead-up time to that, though, and so we do have an ongoing request to the county for some of those ARPA monies in round 2. If not that, we'll come back with, Cindy Vance has mentioned some other augmentation opportunities in the future, but we'll wait to get that decided. So unless there's any other questions of me, that's the plan.
So I do. I've got a couple of questions. So you're going to ask the county for the ARPA funds. Do we intend to pay those ARPA funds back? Or is that just because there's a lag, we'll eventually get the money from, I'm going to call it the FEMA model, which takes, a year of recovery. But do we anticipate paying those back in the first?
The discussions have been, it would be a sub-grant to Truckee Meadows and not be paid back. Because
All right, I just want to
realistically,
know.
those monies are always going to be in arrears. So if we had to pay them back and then cover current costs, it would double up that 1 year, right?
Okay. What are and so a couple of things, Chief. And again, I'm going to use the term FEMA model. It takes us forever to get reimbursed by FEMA. We have to go out and we do work in these various communities, and then we have to apply for reimbursement, and it can take, well, a year might be short for FEMA. It can take much longer than that in certain cases. What's the carrying cost? Have we calculated that in staff to what it's going to cost us, once we get the program rolling, to carry those costs year after year until we get reimbursed? Because money,
Bring Cindy up. I will.
it costs us something to use that money. I mean, it doesn't matter how you look at it. There's a carrying cost.
Yeah, and before I turn it over to Cindy to answer that, one mentions, because it is a mix of direct revenues from transport bills.
Okay.
Those come within usually a couple months. There's
Okay.
no big carrying cost to that part of the equation.
all right.
The GEMT money, it's not FEMA, it's actually through Nevada Medicaid. And that, once you kind of get on that roll, it's the end of the fiscal year, you apply, and then it's usually about 6 months in normal terms
Okay.
after you've completed your application, so.
And each additional employee is just over $100,000, so with 24 employees, that is about 2.4 million per year, plus some additional, supplies and that. We are hoping to get about $3 million a year in GEMT monies.
Okay, okay. And we can do that? We can get more GEMT than what we expended?
Yes, it's not that we didn't expend it, it's that it doesn't necessarily just cover the cost of those additional positions.
see.
It looks at the department's operating costs
Okay,
as a
all right,
whole,
all
so
right,
including
okay,
the engines that aren't transporting, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, all right. I just, again, I'm trying to understand. I'm very supportive of this, Commissioners. One of the things, Chief, have we done and let me back up. Let me try to organize my thoughts maybe a different way, and my comments a different way. Once we get this program up and running, I mean, I see this as a real benefit to the region, because we're applying a model that doesn't assume that every single call requires an engine. And that, to me, that's a benefit. I'm sorry, it has nothing to do with our cores. It's really saying, look, and you've heard me say this, when I cut my finger off with the table saw, I don't need a ladder truck. I need some paramedics to help me, stop the bleeding, find my finger, and then potentially either transport me if I can't because I'm too lightheaded or whatever it happens to be, or, get me to a point where I can be transported or transport myself, a family member, and get that issue taken care of. And so I'm highly supportive of this, and our crews, I'm hopeful that they will be too, because I see this, Chief. Have we calculated the possibility of a cost savings on our large rolling stock? When you're not rolling an engine on every single call, these flex crews can take up a lot of that stuff. Where at least in my opinion, we're able to really apply the amount of force required in the community for the level of service that's required.
Yeah, I think there is an opportunity to start calculating some of those efficiencies and the cost savings in the future. Part of it has to do with our integration with REMSA Dispatch as well, and we're only about 7 weeks into that project, and so we're just now starting to leverage some of that ability to reduce some of our duplicate response, et cetera. And so I think going forward, we're going to be able to see that we're not going to as many calls with the fire engines because we're picking them up with the rescues. So.
Right. I mean, again, I'm going to use Station 46. The bulk of our calls, I know, are to Cascade of the Sierra. And some do require more response than others. I think, and I haven't seen the nature of the calls, but I would bet you that most result in no transport.
We have those numbers, but
Yes.
even when they do, one of the other sides is not so much the actual direct cost in the rolling stock and the fuel, it's the time availability of that unit. If we're getting that engine, even if it did go to that call, if they're only there for 5 minutes because the ambulance is taking them away right away, rather than waiting on REMSA, there's a huge savings in, having that personnel available for the next call.
Exactly. And when I say rolling stock, I also mean, it takes firefighters, and paramedics on that engine, to make that rolling stock work. Because the stock itself is of no value if you don't have it manned.
Correct.
So I'm excited about this. I think that this is a great way to provide a completely different type of a response to our community, and I'm looking for a more robust response. I'll hire these type of crews all day long. I think that this is great, and I will say this again: you have a fire, engine responds. 3-man complement is what we have. We respond with a 2-man complement. Now we have 5 on scene. And then if we respond with another engine, we have the 8. So we're right there. And if another rescue responds, now we have 10. So it's a great way to respond, in my opinion. It's really It's really quite, I'm going to call it innovative, although I know it's being done in other places.
Right, right. It's a huge force multiplier. For
Yes.
us. I've often called it, having firefighter, paramedics on fire-based ambulances. It's like a Swiss Army knife. They can go handle the EMS calls, they can go handle
Right.
the fires, the wildland fires, you name it, versus being just single role, one or the other. So.
Yeah, no, I'm, again, very supportive. Commissioners, anyone else?
And also about the better service that we're able to provide to our community. So thank you for bringing this to us, and we'll look forward to seeing whether it's a grant or reimbursement through carryover funding. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Herman?
I'm fine. I think the program sounds wonderful.
Okay, very good. I had somebody signed in, but I know Manager Brown is not here.
That was me.
Oh, okay.
So
Chief.
Mr. Chairman, I want to compliment my staff for the innovative approach to this, because all of these employees, not only on the medic, but on the wildland fire team, they have been cost neutral to the taxpayers. And I don't know the exact count, but it's been a significant number of additional employees to the district where they've been almost nearly cost neutral because of the contributions we're getting either from GEMT, from NV Energy, from NDF. We've greatly expanded the census of our firefighters with very little increase in the expenditures out of the general fund budget from taxes, from property taxes is what I'm trying to say.
No, I think it's a great concept. I'm very, very supportive. I think this is the future of firefighting all over, where you flex these crews in and out of even different agencies, between municipalities, and just assist where they need to assist. I think it's a phenomenal solution to a more regional problem. I see no one else signed in. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on this item?
We do not.
Okay, I'm going to close public comment. I'm going to bring it back to the board. Commissioners, I'm looking for a motion either for or against.
So moved.
Mr. Lucy.
I'll make a motion to approve as drafted within the staff report.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Lucy, second by Commissioner Herman. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Chief, that takes us to item number 12.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 12 is a recommendation to approve expenditures of $194,000 for supplies and equipment on 10 new light-duty trucks and 1 light-duty SUV, and exempt the requirements from competitive bidding. And this is for emergency lighting and radios for many new vehicles that we've got into the fleet recently.
Okay. Commissioners, any questions on this item?
No, sir.
None.
Okay. Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment on item number 12?
We do not.
We'll close public comment, bring it back to the board, looking for a motion either to approve or not.
Mr. Chair,
Move to
move to approve.
I have a motion by Lucy. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Herman. We have a motion and a second. We took public comment. Is there any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Chief, item 13.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 13 is a significant grant for the district, $786,535 to treat hazardous fuels on Sky Tavern and private property along the Mount Rose Highway. And Chief Eisenhagen is here to give you a brief presentation and answer your questions.
Chief Eisenhagen.
Good morning again. For the record, Division Chief August Eisenhagen. So the Wildland and Fuels Division within Truckee Meadows started in May of 2020. Within about 2 weeks of me coming on board, Sky Tavern reached out looking for help with some fuels management projects. About 2 weeks after that, this SNPLMA is the abbreviation, grant application closed. So we threw together an application to treat at a minimum of 100 acres on 15 different properties coming from Sky Tavern down the Mount Rose corridor. That's clearing brush, timber stand improvement, removing some of the fir in the understory, aspen stand improvement, or restoration, excuse me, as well as 3 community outreach and education days are included in that grant. It's a 6-year proposal, and as Chief said, just under $800,000. You'll notice in the staff report, there's a $15,000 cost to the district. That's not additional cost. There is no match. That's just a projection of administrative oversight.
Wonderful. You know, Commissioner Lucy, I don't know of anyone in the region who knows more about lands bills and the SNPLMA Act than Commissioner Lucy. Commissioner Lucy, perhaps you want to chime in. I mean, this is another perfect example how the lands in southern Nevada
Correct.
are funding what we're doing up here, the sale of those lands. Commissioner Lucy.
Thank you, Chairman. I do appreciate it. And Chief Eisenhagen, you know, this is, as you pointed out, Chairman, this is another one of those perfect examples that SNPLMA in legislation that was initiated by our state is providing for benefits across our state. And that fuels management program and $786,000 for the general public understanding of fuels management will go a very, very long way to address many of our issues along the Mount Rose corridor. And Vice Chair Hill and I were having a discussion about the Mount Rose Highway and the scenic byway that is considered, and fuels management plays a major role within that, not only for erosion for our soils and making sure that the dead piles are gone so that new growth can come and continue to support the erosion around that area, but to preserve the beauty that is that area. So Chief Eisenhagen, thank you for continuing to service that area with your staff. And I really want to reach out to the BLM and the Department of Interior and thank you for continuing to support Northern Nevada and our initiatives to make sure that Truckee Meadows and the Mount Rose Corridor and Incline Village and all of Lake Tahoe remain beautiful. So thank you, Chief Eisenhagen. Thank you, Chairman.
And if I may add, North Lake Tahoe Fire Protection District also received a SNPLMA reward, so they'll be, or award, so they'll be working the Summit West along Mount Rose Highway. The Forest Service has another award that they received through SNPLMA to treat from the Summit down to Davis Creek Park on their property. And then NV Energy so far has spent around $700,000 treating their infrastructure in the area. So all of the entities working together, the goal is to create a larger impact on the landscape.
So roughly, from my understanding, it's close to about $2 million that's been totally expended, if not more, for those fuels management programs along the summit.
That sounds accurate. I would have to do some research.
It's a little bit. I think it's a little over between $2.5 million and $2 million that have been expended towards fuels management along the summit and the Sierra Nevadas. So phenomenal. Thank you, Chief Eisenhagen.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much. And I don't know whether we mentioned it, but for the record, it's the Southern Nevada Public Land Planning Land Management Act grant. It's a mouthful.
Yes, Southern Nevada Public Land Management Act
Yes.
grant. It's quite the mouthful.
Yep, exactly. Commissioners on the phone, do you have any questions for Chief Eisenhagen?
Yes.
Go ahead,
This
Commissioner
is,
Herman.
Commissioner Herman, I think that this is wonderful that this is a bit, available to us. Now, can we use some of these funds too in the future for other highways? Because I know of some state highways that are definitely in need of cleanup along the highway for fuel. So if I could get an answer about what the possibilities are for that, it would be great. I think that's something to look at in the future. Thank you.
You know, Chairman, if I may, Commissioner Herman, yes, those funds for fuels management definitely are identified within the SNPLMA, and we can go out and seek grants for any portion. As long as it resides within the state of Nevada, we can go out and apply for grants for any area within the state as it pertains to fuels management.
I would like to see us look into that very much, especially District 5, because we have, kind of some neglect in that area. So.
Yep, we can definitely get that information.
Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Hill, Vice Chair Hill, any comments or questions?
Oh, I just wanted to make a comment that I know that we're mourning the loss of Honorable Senator Harry Reid, and he really created this opportunity for Northern Nevada, and I'm really excited to be on the team to look at how we're going to shape the next lands bill with Senator Rosen and Catherine Cortez Masto. So great job, team. This is exciting.
Okay. Thank you so much. Before we move on, Madam Clerk, do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay. I will close public comment and bring it back to the board. Commissioners, I'm looking for a motion. Mr. Lucy.
Chairman, I would make the motion that we accept the grant from the Southern Nevada Public Land Management Act grant from the DOI and Bureau of Land Management in the amount of $786,435 to treat hazardous fuels along the Mount Rose Highway corridor.
Okay, I have a motion.
Second.
I have a motion, and I have a second by Commissioner Herman. Motion by Lucy, second by Herman. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Chief, that takes us now to, it's all of our business, takes us to item 14, closure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do have a couple of announcements. Commissioner Jung had asked me to reach out to Senator Masto's office to discuss California fires burning into Nevada and what's being done there. Senator Masto has been very active in providing grant funds. And so with that, Commissioner Lucy has asked for a wildfire response plan. And then you, Mr. Chairman, had asked for a report on the advanced signal warning devices on
Yes.
Pyramid. Plan to bring all those back for some discussion in April.
Okay? Okay, commissioners, anything
Yes.
from, I'm sorry?
Yes, I'd like to say something.
Go ahead, Commissioner Herman, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman. I just wanted to thank the chief for the wonderful success story that he's created around Truckee Meadows fire. We are so fortunate. We have grown and grown and grown, and his management skills are so amazing. This has become a very large part of our government in our county, and it needs all the recognition we can give him. So, and his pick of employees, I'm so pleased with the folks that are added to the crews now, and I just feel like we're so lucky. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Lucy, I have you signed in next.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to ask one last thing to Chief. You know, we talked about the capital improvement plans, but I also want to talk, I'd like a brief update from the Deputy Chief in regards to kind of our RMS, our dispatch transfer and how the first couple of months of that has been going, if we can get an update to the board on that. And then I'd like to point out that Chief did spend quite a bit of time in the last month with all of the regional chiefs to discuss our fuels management plan. I know that's in the process, so Chief, thank you for getting right on that and making that a priority. I know that's a big issue for a number of our constituents out in the foothills, along for Commissioner Hill, myself, and Commissioner Herman. There are a lot of those on those border and fringe areas, and the chairman. That is a big deal, you know, that buffer and that the ability to prevent those homes from going into that firestorm type of thing. So we really do appreciate that. And lastly, I did want to see if we could get an update from you or staff in regards to, those discussions we've had about what does a regional approach look like, and if we can get an update from you. Where we are with that, and what's going on, and how those discussions had been going on with 2487 and our staff in regards to that, and kind of get maybe some workshops or some discussions about what that would look like. Like to work on that and move forward with some of those discussions this year as well.
Good, there are things in motion on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hill.
No comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And for myself, Chief, have we talked about, I know you met with all the chiefs, are we still talking about a regional resource emergency management plan in the event that we do have conditions that could be unfavorable in the event of a wildfire?
Yes.
And what I mean by that is, and you don't have to, you don't have to answer to that. I'm just saying, are we moving forward just with that plan of just the dissemination of resources, how they're allocated, who plays what role, and sort of how we deal with that thing? Because, look, nobody cares whose jurisdiction it started in. What we care about is protecting the region.
The answer is yes.
Good. Thank you, Chief. Okay. All right, everyone's made comments. If there's no other comments from anyone, I will close item 14. And Chief, that takes us to item 15.
Item 15 is the final public comment. Comment heard under this item will be limited to 3 minutes per person. May pertain to matters both on and off the Board of Fire Commissioners' agenda. The district will also hear public comment during individual action items with comment limited to 3 minutes per person, and comments are to be made to the Board of Fire Commissioners as a whole.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Madam Clerk, would you please call public comment?
And no one is signed in.
Okay. There's no one wishing to speak. I will close public comment. I will bring it back to the board. And thank you so much, commissioners and staff. We are adjourned.